What's going on, guys? Welcome to my Dev channel. In this video, we're gonna learn about promises in JavaScript. If you ever heard about promise in JavaScript and you don't know what it is, in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to use promise in JavaScript. I promise that you will have a good understanding of promises by the end of the video. Okay, let's take a look. First of all, what is a promise? A promise in JavaScript is just like a promise we make in our lives. It refers to an event that will occur in the future. Promises in JavaScript are used to handle asynchronous operations. Promises have three possible states. 1. Pending or initial state. 2. Fulfilled or successful. 3. Rejected or failed. When we make a promise, its states will be pending till either it is fulfilled or rejected. If fulfilled, its value will be the value it resolves with, and if it encounters any error, its value will be the value it rejects with, or the error object. For example, when we make API requests to the server, it immediately returns a promise with pending state. If the API call is successful, the state of promise changes from pending to fulfilled, and if the API request fails, then its state changes from pending to rejected. Okay, let's create a promise in JavaScript. I'm gonna create a variable called promise example, and we're gonna use new keyword promise. So promise is gonna take two parameters, resolve and reject, and then I'm gonna create condition true. So we're gonna check if condition. If it's true, we're gonna call resolve function and write some text resolve with any type of data such as objects, arrays, strings, etc. Okay, if it's false or error, we're gonna do else and then call reject function and type error description. That's it. So in this code, you're gonna see we create a promise by using new promise constructor, and it takes a function as an argument. This function takes two callback functions, resolve and reject. Whenever you want to fulfill the promise, you can call the resolve callback function and pass the value to it. And to reject a promise, you call the reject callback and providing some error message. Next, we're gonna use the promise. When you want to use promise, we're gonna take this variable and we use then. So then gonna take one parameter, which is result, and return. We're gonna console.log result. We're gonna go to console. Okay, right there, you're gonna see the result that resolved. So the then method takes a callback function that executes whenever the promise resolves or is fulfilled. The callback itself takes a parameter to store the actual result returned from the promise. And it then also takes a second parameter, a callback function, to handle errors, but there's a better way. We can use catch method to catch some error. Okay, let's take a look. So I can use the catch method and takes error console log error, and then I'm gonna change this to false. It's safe, and you can see in the console it logs error description. So the catch method also takes a callback that executes whenever the promise rejects or fails. This callback takes an error parameter to catch the error information. So next, we're gonna take a look how to chaining a promise. Suppose we have to perform multiple asynchronous tasks. In that case, we use promise chaining. So I'm gonna chain some code here. You can get rid of this code, and we're gonna use set timeout. So after 1 second, we're gonna resolve and display some text data of first promise. Alright. And then we're gonna use promise here. Get rid of this. We're gonna use then. I'm gonna come in here. First dot then. So this first then, we're gonna take data of first promise, and we're gonna console log data of first promise. And next, I'm gonna simulating API call which resolves after 1 second. we're gonna return new promise, resolve reject, and set timeout. After 1 second, we're gonna resolve data of second promise, and at the end of this code we're gonna do the second then take data of second promise and console.log data of second promise. And finally we can use catch to catch some error, return console.log error. Okay, hit save and refresh the page. As you can see in the console, it logs data of first promise followed by data of second promise. Few things to note here: the then and catch methods always returns a promise, so that we can again use .then and .catch on them and change the promises. In this code we use two then methods, which is this is first then and second then here. And to consume the result of the first then method, we always need to return that value from it, which is this console log. We return a promise from the first .then method. And next we use catch to catch the error if it occurs in any of the promises. This is the main reason we use catch instead of the second parameter of .then. The .catch method always catches the error, either if it occurs in promise or the .then method. In this code we first create a promise which resolves after 1 second, right? After that we call .then on the promise and get the result of the first promise in parameter, which is this data of first promise. Now if we want to fire another API request only after the first promise resolves, we can do that here. So we simulate API request with second promise that resolves after 1 second, and we can get the result of second promise in the second .then method here. You can change as many .then and .catch as you want. That is all about promise chaining. Alright guys, I hope this video gonna make you get comfortable with promise now. Anyway, this was a brief introduction of promises, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you guys soon in the next video.